One of the defining experiences in my life was going to study abroad. Now, I studied abroad when I was already in my mid-20s, so I was a little bit older maybe than most people, but I'd have to say that it's one of the things that I'm happiest about having done in my life. What did it do for me? Why would I consider that one of the greatest investments I've made in my own life? First of all, it got me into a situation where I was a foreigner. Why is that important? I think it's important because I had to understand that everywhere I went, people were looking at me as a little bit different. That I was the one who didn't quite fit in, right? I wouldn't say that I always fit in at home in my high school or my college, but being a foreigner in another country, you're constantly aware of that, because it made me aware that nothing around me can be taken for granted. That nothing I do or that you or I do in our own context can be taken for granted, because there's a different way of doing almost everything around the world. The other thing it helped me to do was that it helped me to actually love my own culture better, because I began to understand by living in another country that I loved, where I had a wonderful time. I also began to understand the great things about my own culture, about my own home, and not over and against. I was living in Spain at the time, not as being better or worse, but that each place has its own differences, has its own peculiarities that make it what it is. And some of these are good, some of these are bad. And I learned to appreciate what those good things were. In fact, sometimes you don't understand the good things about a place until you get a little bit of distance from it. Finally, having to speak another language all day long, every day, allowed me to develop sides of my personality that I hadn't developed before. Because speaking another language is almost like being an actor. You emphasize certain things about yourself that you don't necessarily emphasize in your home language. And so different aspects of who you are, different sides of who you are come out. And people see those that they might not see when you're in a familiar context. So I would always encourage anyone, if you can, to go spend some time abroad. And I don't just mean a week or two or a few days, but really enough time where it becomes uncomfortable for you, enough time where you really have to adjust to the other place.